there, I'm Blade, and I'm the editor, creator, and producer of what you're watching right now, Blade Talk. If you are new here, welcome, and you found this presentation helpful and informative, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, do me an even greater favor, and subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate all the support that I am given. So, you've decided that you want to convert to Judaism. Or maybe you just want a little information on what the process is. Well, I'm glad you decided to come to this channel. In this presentation, I'm going to go over the conversion process and what to expect as you embark on this new life journey that you've chosen for yourself. So if you're interested, let's hit that intro and let's begin. Alright, so a couple of caveats before we get started with today's presentation. And that is, number one, you'll hear people say that if you want to convert to Judaism, you need an Orthodox conversion. That's the only one that's universally recognized. Everybody will accept your conversion. So, two problems with that. One is the obvious, it's not true. There is no such thing as a universal conversion. The fact is that even if you convert Orthodox, because there's so much infighting within the Orthodox realm, your conversion may not be accepted by the rabbinate in Israel or the Orthodox rabbi in the next state over. And two, that isn't according to Jewish law. There's nothing in Halakhic that states that you need an Orthodox rabbi, nor the fact that you need a rabbi at all. So I wanted to point that out and make that distinction, because you always get people that are in the comments that say that, well, the only way to convert is through the Orthodox way. And if you are accepting of the Orthodox interpretation of the Torah and Halakha, I think it's a great fit. Absolutely find an Orthodox rabbi and go through the conversion process. Now, what I advise people to do if you are interested in converting to Judaism is to study which movement best reflects your lifestyle and understand what each movement brings, specifically talking about Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform. The huge difference between the three movements are their interpretation of halakha, or the way, literally meaning the way. It is Jewish law. And how you view the interpretation of Jewish law may vary depending on your circumstances. So, Jewish law was made by our sages. Jewish law came down from Hazal, or our leaders, from a long time ago. And if you feel that what those sages or Hazal stated is binding, it is completely binding. Whatever they said, it goes, and you must follow it. Whether you understand it or not, you have to follow it. Then Orthodox Judaism is for you. If, on the other hand, you view Halakha or Jewish law and what they stated, Hazal stated, as binding, but it should be able to adapt to the times that we're living in to make it relevant to our daily lives, then conservative Judaism is for you. If, on the other hand, you believe that there is a lot of wisdom in what the sages stated and what Hazal stated, but it doesn't necessarily apply to us now. It's a good framework. I love the way that they thought, but it really doesn't have any relevance today. Then Reform Judaism is for you. So decide which interpretation of Jewish law you want to align yourself with. Now, when it comes to conversion, typically, if you go towards an Orthodox path, an Orthodox conversion, there's this common thing going around where a rabbi will make it hard for you to convert. They may turn you away. They may not answer your phone calls, not get back to your emails, etc., etc. I have always disagreed with this. This is not Jewish law. This is nowhere in Halakha at all. And the reason that I disagree with it is because if someone has chosen to be Jewish, I view that as a very good thing. I think that the Torah is for everyone that wants to keep it. Understand, my philosophy is that if you accept the Torah, you're already Jewish. If you accept the Torah and nothing else, you're already in a spiritual covenant with God. The whole conversion process is just so that others witness. It's a public declaration that you've chosen upon yourself to adhere to the Torah. That's what conversion is. I say that because in Orthodox communities, they love to, some, not all, turn people away. And again, I disagree with this because what if someone is feeling depressed and they feel, or stressed, and they feel a connection to Judaism and they want to join? A good path that they see for them, their family, and they come sincerely to an Orthodox rabbi, and that Orthodox rabbi chooses to reject them. At that point, they may go to another religion. They may go to Christianity. They may go to Islam. And there are Jews that will say that, well, if they really wanted to be Jewish, then they wouldn't give up. And no. I believe that if someone sincerely wants to become Jewish, we shouldn't put stumbling blocks in their way. That's just me personally. And again, it has nothing to do with Halakha. But conversion itself usually involves finding a sponsoring rabbi. Find a rabbi and set up a meeting with him, and he or she will instruct you on what to do. And they'll sponsor you. They'll mentor you on Jewish customs, traditions, laws, etc. Now, again, it's important to note that if you're going through the Orthodox conversion path, there's a list called the Etim list. You can actually look it up on the internet. There's a list of about 20, I think the last time I looked, there was like 27 Orthodox rabbis that are acceptable rabbis to perform conversions according to the rabbinutes in Israel. So don't think that, oh, I found an Orthodox rabbi and they convert me, then it's valid. No, the rabbinutes in Israel stated that there are only a handful, and I think it's, again, 20, 27, 28 in all of the United States of America. And the rabbinutes stated that if you're in South America, they won't recognize the conversions from South America, period. So it's very political in the Orthodox realm. Okay. But understand that that rabbi has to be on that list to be recognized by the rabbinute. That being said, how long it should take varies from rabbi to rabbi, but they'll instruct you on what to do next, and then usually you will get to a point to where you feel that you're ready, and you let that rabbi know. And then that rabbi will essentially set up a meeting with you and explain the entire process. Now, conversion according to Halakhic, according to Jewish law, says that you have to go through a Beit Din. And a Beit Din is a Jewish court made up of 3 knowledgeable Jews. Now, I know some will say, well, they have to be rabbis. They actually don't. That is not what Halakha states. Again, what I am giving you is according to Jewish law. It says 3 knowledgeable individuals. And that will make up essentially a Jewish court. And they will ask you questions. Now, they're not going to drill you on Jewish history, etc., etc. What their job is to test your sincerity. They may ask questions, for example, why you want to become Jewish. Why have you chosen this path? What prayers mean the most to you? What blessings mean the most to you? Things like that. Afterwards, they'll ask you to leave, and then they'll meet amongst themselves, and you'll come back in, and they'll decide whether they see you as a sincere convert. Afterwards, you'll enter a mikveh. A mikveh is a natural body of water. And what this is to be a symbolic representation of you coming into the Jewish world. So you'll take 3 dunks in the mikveh. You'll be completely naked. And again, the whole point of this is that it is witnessed. So you'll have the knowledgeable Jews there, whether it's men, women, what have you. Someone has to witness your submersion in the mikveh. Also, one subtle point, if you are a male, you have to go through a circumcision. If you're already circumcised, then you'll attend a ritual circumcision to where they prick your penis and draw blood from it, and that will be a symbol of a ritual circumcision that you are entering into the covenant with God. So after, if you're a male, you go through that ritual circumcision. After you go through the Beit Din, and after you go through the mikveh, You come out of the mikveh and you're Jewish. That's it. You've done it. Now again, I am a conservative Jew, so I recognize my bias, but I would say that the best conversion is a conservative one, recognized by the Rabbinical Assembly. And I'll explain why. Reform Judaism. If you align with the Reform movement, I highly encourage the Reform movement. I think it's a great movement. They do great things in terms of social justice. But many of the Reform rabbis have abandoned, for example, the ritual circumcision, which is actually supposed to happen according to Jewish law. Some of the things that the Reform movement believe is that some ritual traditions aren't needed anymore. And me personally, I don't agree with that. It's just me personally. I don't agree with that. I think that Jewish law should still be followed if someone wants to join the tribe. On the other end of the spectrum, Orthodox conversions have become so political because of the infighting amongst Orthodox Jews. So number one, you have to move into an Orthodox community, and that's not available for everyone, which is why I'm not a huge supporter of it. Because what if you're not able to move into a community where you're in walking distance of a shul? Financial reasons, maybe your job is tied to a certain place, you can't move. So does that mean that you can't become Jewish and gain that connection with God just because maybe your credit isn't the best to move? Maybe your financial status isn't the best to move. Maybe your family, you have something going on that you can't move. I disagree with that. I think that you should still be able to be Jewish. Not only that, again, the Orthodox movement, the conversions have become so politicized. Your conversion may be recognized today and it may be nullified tomorrow, depending on how the rabbinate feels. So the rabbinate decides your Jewish status. And if, for whatever reason, the rabbi that converted you falls out with the rabbinate has taken it upon themselves to nullify conversions. Now, this is not in Halakha. This is not according to Jewish law. This whole notion of nullifying conversions doesn't exist in Jewish law. But the rabbinate has decided to take it upon themselves to give themselves that authority. So again, your conversion may be recognized today and it may be nullified tomorrow. Again, there is no universal conversion. There's no such thing. There's always going to be someone that says, I don't like the way that you converted. There was a woman on the Beit Din. It wasn't an Orthodox rabbi on the Beit Din. So it's all a matter of kosher witnesses. When in truth, again, on the Orthodox side, there's a lot of infighting. As a matter of fact, in 2022, it was July 18th, 2022, rabbis in the rabbinate refused to recognize 228 people's conversion. They denied them their conversion certificates. Even though they fulfilled all the demands, including those contradictory to Jewish law, they did everything, and the rabbinate withheld their conversion certificates. 228. So again, it has become very politicized. So don't fall into the trap of, well, it's Orthodox, everybody will accept my conversion if I'm Orthodox. That's not true. And then there's the conservative conversion. And I say that this is the best one. Again, this is my bias. Everyone has one. I believe that the conservative movement is the best representation of Jewish history and what we've been through as Jews. And what conservative Judaism says is that the Torah is from God. Jewish law are from our great sages, rabbis, teachers, leaders, and we see their words and we try to make meaning out of those laws that they said in our daily lives today. We try to find relevance to it today. And it should be able to adapt based on the times that we're living in. So whereas the Orthodox movement states that, no, we need to freeze it, their words are binding. That's it. Don't touch them. The conservative movement says, well, times are changing. The status of women has changed. So we have to address these things. But let's do it in a way that the integrity of Jewish law remains intact. We're not just throwing out laws just because we don't like them. We're actually trying to do what's best to conserve, hence conservative Judaism, conserve our tradition. And then the Reform says it's great wisdom, but it doesn't apply to us today. Now, if you want to be recognized by the rabbinate to convert Orthodox, understand that the only benefit is that if you make Aliyah or move to Israel, the rabbinate will recognize your conversion. You'll be able to get married and you'll be able to get buried in Israel. That's the only difference. Most Israelis in Israel, when they want to marry for example, a Russian Jew that the rabbinate doesn't recognize as Jews, typically what they'll do is they'll go to Cyprus Island and they'll get married and then they'll come back to Israel and then the rabbinate has to accept the marriage. So they'll just leave the country, come back, and they'll leave the country, get married, and then come back, and then it's recognized. So when it comes to reform and conservative conversions, there is an agency and it's called the Sochnut, and that agency is very simple. You just show them your conversion certificate by the Rabbinical Assembly or by the I forget what the headquarters of the Reform movement is, but you show them that certificate and you're good to go. The rabbinate, you have to prove that your observance level is up to their standards, and because they feel that the more primitive you are in your practice and belief, the more religious you are. Again, if that is your way of doing Jewish and being Jewish, I support it 100%. It's all about how you want to interpret Jewish law. That is the major difference between Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform. That is the difference. So do what's best for you and your family. There are some that convert for love. There are some that convert for a better life. And I think that the Torah is for everyone. Everyone who chooses to accept it. So I'm not one of these Jews that turn people away and no, you just do the Noahide laws. No, if you want to adhere to the Torah and you accept the Torah, then be Jewish. Go through the process. Some people say that, well, it should be hard and they should be turned away and it should be difficult. I don't believe that. The only evidence that we have in terms of conversion in the Talmud is Rabbi Hillel. Rabbi Hillel converted someone under false pretenses. They wanted to become the high priest. They wanted to be taught the entire Torah while standing on one foot. But Rabbi Hillel converted them nonetheless, and then he took them under his wing and he taught them, he mentored them. I don't think that conversion is ever meant to be difficult. Even according to Jewish law, it states you tell people that convert some of the laws, but don't overwhelm them with the laws, lest you turn them from a good path to a bad path, which is why I don't believe in turning people away. When you turn people away, where are they going? If they feel rejected by you, then what have you done? They're trying to gain a connection with Hashem, and they come to you and well, Jews don't proselyte. Don't worry about being Jewish. Why would you do that? So I never agreed with that approach. I believe that the Torah is for everyone, and if there were more individuals that accepted the Torah, I think that the world would be a better place. All three movements do require that you abandon all other faiths and be exclusively Jewish. So you can't carry on and be Christian and convert to Judaism. You can't be Muslim and carry that over into Judaism, because you're joining a family. It's not just a religion. We have our own calendar. We have our own holidays. We have our own food. We have our own music. We have our own nation. This isn't something that you can just say, well, I believe. You have to live it. And when they test your sincerity, they'll ask you, don't you know that Jews are being persecuted? Don't you know the level of anti-Semitism there is in the world right now? Now, if they still say, yes, I know, but I still want to become Jewish, Jewish law states that we are to convert them mi'ad, immediately. So this notion that it costs hundreds of dollars, it's a scam. I don't recommend that at all. If you give me $500, I'll convert you and it'll be recognized by Israel, and stay away from people like that. So do what's best for you and your family and the circumstances that you're in. Being Jewish is an amazing thing. I started out Orthodox and I converted I didn't really convert, but switched over to conservative Judaism because I personally didn't like the closed-mindedness of the Orthodox movement. And that's not a slight on the Orthodox. I think the Orthodox movement is a great way to live your life. I really do. But for me, I needed a wider range. I needed a wider range of opinions. And just because I don't accept one opinion doesn't mean that I should be kicked out of the club or whatnot. For example, Orthodox believe that on Shabbat you shouldn't use electricity. Well, that came down from a rabbi and that was his opinion. I don't agree with it. But the Orthodox will tell you, well, if you don't agree with it, then you're not Orthodox. Orthodox rabbis will tell you that women can't be rabbis. And again, I disagree with that. That was one rabbi's opinion. They didn't come down from the Sanhedrin. They didn't come down from God. It's just someone's opinion. And I choose to have a different opinion. But the Orthodox will say that, well, if you believe that, then you're not Orthodox. So there's all these landmines, or you're walking on eggshells, because if you don't agree with the consensus, then you're kicked out of Orthodoxy. And I just chose to leave. It wasn't for me. So as you were looking at converting to Judaism, make sure that whichever one you choose in terms of the movements is right for you. Don't get fooled by people that say you should convert this way. Do what's best for you. There is no such thing as a universal conversion. No such thing. If you convert Reform, typically only Reform will recognize your conversion. If you convert Conservative, then Reform and Conservative will recognize your conversion. If you convert Orthodox, that Orthodox rabbi has to be on that team list for the rabbinate to accept your conversion. The Conservatives accept your conversion, and so does the Reform. But even still, you'll find people that says you can't convert to Judaism, period. So you'll always run into that battle. There is no such thing as a universal conversion. So do what's best for you. In my eyes, again, if you accept the Torah exclusively, you're already Jewish in your heart. If you are abiding by it, you're already Jewish in your heart. So I push on this channel to gain a relationship with Hashem. Don't fall for the distractions of people trying to sway you this way, that way. I just broke down what Jewish law states on conversion. So don't get fooled by, oh, you should be turned away. It should take years. And the actual law of conversion is one page. And you can look it up for yourself. There are more pages on washing your hands than there is conversion. I don't think that it was ever meant to be as difficult as people are making it. So do what's best for you. And I, for one, am happy that you chose to be Jewish. We need more people to join the tribe. Because I personally believe that Torah is the best way to live. I'm not convinced of Judaism because of some supernatural, and the Torah works. It works. That's the best argument that I have for becoming Jewish. It works. Now the Quran tries to spin things and tries to add, put maybe some extra things in there. The New Testament and Christianity tries to revamp things and whatnot. But if it ain't broke, why break it? It works. So you see people that, the Quran and Muslims say that the Torah has been tampered with, but they have no evidence to it. And Muhammad actually leaned on the Torah for judgment, and even stated to the Jews at that time, "Why do you come to me when you already have the Torah?" And for the Christians, they like to say that, well, the Torah is nailed to the cross with Jesus. We don't have to follow the law anymore. Do you know what you're saying when you say that? So you don't have to honor your mother and your father anymore? You can steal now. You can commit murder. Have you actually read the law before you judge it? Have good hygiene. Be honest in business transactions. Keep Shabbat. Have you actually read it? And the goal isn't to be perfect, because nobody can keep all the laws 100%. The goal was never to be perfect. The goal is to try to be better than who we were last year, who we were yesterday. That should be the overall goal. It's not how far we get in life. It's how we get there that truly matters. So, if you found this presentation helpful and informative, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Do me an even greater favor and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Blade Talk. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. And until the next time, you all take care. Shavua Tov.